Well, from what we can cross now to our guest, Chris Reynolds is a professor in contemporary French and European studies. He joins us now from Nottingham. Hello, thank you very much for being with us. What's your take first on this movement that's now in its 23rd week?
Hello, thanks for having me. I think it's really interesting that that the movement continues to manage to get so many people onto the streets of Paris and other cities. You know, the durability of this movement is really quite surprising. You know, we're talking about the 23rd weekend, where we have these scenes repeated every week. So it's really quite remarkable, the durability of the movement, and it does give one this sense that this thing is not going to just go away. There was perhaps a moment there over the last few weeks when it was felt that the movement was petering out, and that may well be the case. But looking at some of the scenes in Paris today, it seems as though that the movement has been reinvigorated somewhat, but remains to be seen. And I suppose we all have to wait for Macron's address on Thursday evening to find out what the next steps are.
And do you feel the movement has changed from its grassroots nature at the beginning of this 23 weeks ago?
I'm not sure if the movement has changed all that much. I mean, it's always been very difficult to pin down exactly what the movement wanted, a dispersed range of demands, but also a dispersed makeup in terms of the people who were involved. I think the overarching demand that remains from the beginning until today is that of around the idea of spending power, about pouvoir d'achat in French, where there's a sense that people don't have enough money to make ends meet, and that seems to be the one cause that binds all these different people together. But it remains quite a fragmented movement, which on the one hand makes it very difficult to deal with, but on the other hand also is quite a weakness for the movement as well, because it doesn't seem to have a structure, an organisation, or a concrete list of demands that it can put to the government, and therefore try and get some results.
And in the wake of the fire at Notre Dame earlier this week, we've seen a number of banners referencing Victor Hugo and Les Miserables this Saturday. Do you understand the protesters' ire as regards to the vast sums pledged by the government to rebuild the cathedral?
Yes, I really do, and this is something I've been thinking a lot about, is that what we saw in the outpouring of sympathy for what happened at Notre Dame, and then the response by quite a number of very wealthy people who have donated vast sums of money, some people donating 200 million euros to rebuild the cathedral. I mean, it's really quite unbelievable that someone would have that sort of money available to donate to, albeit a very worthy cause, and so on and so forth. But you can imagine and understand the frustrations that exist within French society. The Gilets Jaunes movement is all about the idea that there's a section of society that feels as though it's been marginalised, hasn't been listened to, has missed out on economic growth and prosperity, versus a certain degree of elite people, the 1% who seem to have all the wealth. And the response by some of those people to the Notre Dame crisis in their ability to donate overnight vast sums of money is obviously going to just exemplify the divisions that exist within French society between the haves and the have-nots. So I can understand why that would be used by those people who are trying to make a case for the fact that they feel left out of the prosperity and wealth of France. I can see how they can use that as an example, a very recent example of the divisions that exist within French society today.
Chris Reynolds, thank you very much for having spoken to us. Thank you.